Guys, welcome to Juzzy's Backyard Brewing. So today we're going to learn how to do a filter coffee, and we're going to use a Hario V60 today. So this is our filter paper and this is our V60. So first things first, we need to just fold across this edge and then pop it out so we get a nice sharp point. So the reason filter coffee is different from espresso is it's roasted usually to a lesser degree, so it doesn't spend as much time in the roaster, and that helps with highlighting the acidic and the delicate notes in the cup. So today our coffee is going to be a single origin from Single Origin Roasters up in Sydney, and it's a San Isidro from the San Isidro Co-op in Peru. So first things first, we need to weigh out our beans. So we're going to use 23 grams of beans, and we're going to use 350 mils of water. So we'll weigh our carafe and our V60 and measure as we go in terms of water volume. So a few other things you might need is some sort of stirrer. We're using a bamboo one. I did not carve it myself. A cup to drink out of, and obviously a gooseneck kettle. And we haven't got a temperature controlled kettle today, so we're just going to use boiling water. And then we've got our burr grinder. So first things first is put your coffee in the grinder. So it's always good to put your water on to boil now while you grind, because if you're using a hand grinder, it takes a while. All right, so we've ground our coffee to the consistency of roughly table salt, a little bit bigger than table salt maybe. So the bigger the better usually for filter coffee. So once we get our water to the boil, we're gonna wash our, well, just before it boils, we're gonna just wash our filter down a little bit. Not that we expect to get any sort of papery taste from the bleached filters, but just to warm everything up a bit. You can warm your cup up if you like, it's up to you. You can just ditch that. All right, so one thing you also need to do is to time your brew. So once you start pouring, what we're gonna do is pour about 40 grams of water, and we're gonna stir that as soon as we put the kettle back down. So we wanna stir and make sure all the grounds are as wet and as evenly wet as possible. So that's gonna make sure that all of the grounds are gonna be extracting at the same rate. Right. And then after that, we will basically slowly pour. We wanna pour down the edges because we want all of the coffee to be at the very bottom of the V60, and so that the water passes through all of the coffee at the same rate. All right, so we've got boiling water, so we'll start our timer as soon as we start pouring. And we'll pour our 40 grams and stir vigorously. So we're going to wait another 20 seconds now while we wait for the coffee to release a few gases. So CO2 is built up a lot in the roasting process, and when you add water, it dissolves it and then gives off CO2. So when we start pouring now, we want to make sure that all the coffee is wet as evenly as possible, and we're going to pour from a reasonable height. This is just to create a bit of agitation and just make sure that we're promoting extraction, basically. We want to get as much out of this coffee as we can. Basically, we're pouring at a reasonable rate here, and we're going to be just doing circles, a bit around the edges, washing the grounds down. And that's 350 ml. So the last thing we're going to do is give it a tap and settle the grinds a bit by giving it a bit of a jiggle. So we don't have a too strict of time-wise on how long we want this to brew for, but anywhere from 2 minutes to 3 minutes is pretty good. So this is what our bed of coffee should look like after we've finished brewing. Hopefully it's nice and flat through here and not too many high and dry grounds up here. So it means we've extracted evenly from all of the coffee. And basically serve and enjoy, and give it a chance. Give it a chance to sit and cool down and get a bit cooler than you would drink normally with a hot drink. I find that filter coffee really needs that time to get below 50 degrees before it really opens up in flavour. So enjoy.